the App Store, developers, and the Mac Show from the British Tech Network. This is MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, a couple months ago, I was on the British Tech Network show, the Mac Show, discussing the App Store, Apple's rejection of apps, how that's handled, and basically all the details behind the App Store that a lot of us don't really think about that often. It was so good, and it didn't go out of date, and I asked BTN honcho Ewen Rankin if it would be okay if I rebroadcast it on this show, because I think it's some really important information and some important discussion for you to hear. So you're going to see and hear things a little bit different this time. Jeff Gamet is the host, but we all participate. And so I think it will give you some things to think about and recognize whenever discussions of developers, App Store, the percentage that Apple charges developers to be in the App Store, and everything else comes along. Let's go and let the Mac Show do the talking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mac Show. I am Jeff Gamet. I am your interim host, sitting in for Ewen Rankin. And yes, I did have to double check and make sure that it really is the Mac Show, because I'm still not even sure what day it is. But since I said Mac Show, I'm guessing it's Friday.
We moved the Mac Show to another day.
Okay, well, regardless of whatever day it is, we're doing the Mac Show. And that's it.
Yeah, it's the day that ends in Y.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Okay, so I'm totally on track. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, you had to count it on your fingers, and you're like, oh, yeah, it totally is. Anyhow, I'm clearly happy to be here. And despite the fact that I seem to be completely incapable of starting the show in a professional manner, and the fact that I live in Boulder, I am not operating under a chemically altered state. Just putting that out there.
No
So
smoke.
apparently this is just how I am. Yeah. Anyhow.
Though technically your body can alter its own chemistry.
You know,
True.
I have an
Does
absolute
it all the time.
amazing pharmacological factory, just cranking out stuff all the time.
Is that a word? Pharmacological?
Can you believe I actually was able to pump out a word with that many syllables this early in the morning? Amazing.
The only thing is I don't want to know where that factory is located.
I kind of think you do.
I don't. I really don't.
I'll draw you a picture.
Oh, Lord, please don't.
Oh, Lord.
No, it'll be great.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
gonna need a bigger iPad. Anyhow, Dave, how are you today?
I am doing great. This is like a fabulous day today. We get a shortened work day, and I get to record In Touch iOS later today with a number of you here, which I'm excited about as well. And weather is a little cool, but it's going to warm up this week and weekend. We're going to have a beautiful weekend, and of course, it's a long weekend in the United States, so we're going to have a lot of fun. And I'm glad to be here.
So one of us is just a number to you? That's what you're saying?
One of us? No.
One
Because you
us
said
is
a
just-
All of you
number.
are.
A number of you here. Right.
Okay. Everybody except Chuck. How's that?
So wait a minute. So wait a minute.
If Chuck
You're
wants to
saying-
join, he's welcome to.
All right.
Wait a minute. There's only one number here. The third will be joining Dave.
Yes.
This is why I love all of you.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Speaking of love, Chuck, how are you?
Well, I'm not feeling very loved right now, Jeff. I'll tell you.
Aw.
I love you.
Look,
That was even more disturbing, David. Stop it.
Dave,
doing
you're
good.
not getting his Bud Light.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Everything. I'm with Dave. We have a nice long weekend coming up, and so it means I will hopefully get a lot of things off the to-do list.
Nice.
Not the honey-do list,
Very
the
nice.
to-do list. So just to be sure.
The Chuck
And it is long.
Yes, it is. It's growing longer every day. Leave it alone, Jeff.
Patrice, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a nice day. It's really nice and sunny and warm here. I had very few meetings today. Got actually some stuff done. I sold some things, so it's always good. Like some of the stuff I don't want to move to the new apartment, like the electronic stuff I just sold.
Yeah, I noticed the HomePod boxes are gone. So
The HomePod boxes are gone. I have an old Apple Watch that is gone, and I have like one of those radiator valves from Eve that I also sold. I have two more, so I have to sell them. But yeah, it's quite nice. So
nice.
Got some stuff done. And the important things that what I wanted to do today, I didn't get done because I wanted to do some phone calls and I didn't. Yay me.
Yay you.
Yeah, it's my brain. I don't like phone calls, so procrastinating on it, I'm very good at.
But look how productive you were through your procrastination.
Yeah.
I'm totally being an enabler here.
Yeah, you are.
Well, you're good at that.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'm glad you've at least been able to start selling off some of the stuff you want to get out of the way before your move, and
make space for more.
Make space for more. Yep. And the funny thing is, as we started the show, I got a message from my dad, who my parents are visiting my aunt and uncle in California. And my dad sent me a text message asking if I'd like for him to bring back this book that my uncle has, that my uncle would like to give to me. It's a big book of artwork from the Star Trek franchise. And so my dad was asking, do I bring it back or do I tell him to mail it to you after you've moved? I'm thinking mail it to me after I've moved.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm reaching that territory too, where it's like, should I order it now and have it delivered here, or should I just wait like a couple of weeks and then order it to the new place?
I am so with you. Yep.
Jeff, take some advice. Don't let him mail it, FedEx it, UPS it, so it can be tracked. Don't trust USPS, excuse me. Don't trust USPS.
Yeah. Nope.
That I think that's good advice.
Yeah. Sorry, Postal Service friends, but it's the dependability is shaky, especially for something that if you care about.
It's not just the dependability; it's the tracking that's even shaky.
Yeah.
It's like for me coming from Europe, that was like I was thinking, oh yeah, everything is modern and tracking everywhere and whatever. Because I mean, I'm used to that here in Europe. Like, I mean, if I mail anything, even across borders and whatever, I can see exactly where it is when it is. When I come to USPS and it's like it takes like a week to deliver, and there's like maybe one update in between. It's like, oh, at some random place somewhere it showed up like 4 days ago. Like, okay.
Yeah, I received a package earlier this week, USPS, and I did have the tracking number. And the tracking number is still saying that that it's waiting for carrier pickup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Usually you get 2 or 3 waiting for pickup, then some random place in between, and deliver. Like, there's usually not a lot in between.
And they're probably not going to happen in a time frame that's actually relevant to the package's actual
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But speaking of relevant and dependable and beautiful, Ben, how are you?
I am great, Jeff. I am ready for the kickoff to summer tonight. A few hours of great music, great food, and completely wrecking my hearing.
This is why I always have a couple sets of those rubber foam earplugs with me.
Me too.
Because you never know when you're going to have a concert experience. And there you go. I actually bought a big bag of those earplugs off of Amazon.
Yes. Yep. And I do have to also say, the Apple Watch noise detection does a pretty good job of telling how awesome the concert is. Because if it says something that you're going to completely ignore, the place is rocking.
Yep, this checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, awesome. I'm glad that you have a great weekend of music and concert food. Well, what festival food is probably more appropriate.
Yeah, it'll be food trucks.
Excellent. Nice. Excellent. All right. Well, I suppose even though there's not hardly any Apple news out there right now, we should at least go through the motions of acting like there is some.
Maybe we should talk about something else first.
Oh my God. Yes, Patrice.
So
absolutely.
It is 10 days.
Microsoft Build?
No. We should have talked about that yesterday. No, it's 10 days to WWDC. Roundabout. We have like 10 days and a couple hours. So
week from Monday.
Hour and a half. Yeah. So as it is tradition, next week, Friday, we will do our keynote poker again. And I had to check. We have not done one since, I think, October last year, because there were no events in November. There was just press releases, as far as I remember. And there was also nothing earlier this year. So it's been a long while that Apple has done like a keynote. We should, like, if you want to join, also in the chat, let us know. Like, if you want to really participate from the live chat, you have to join live. Like, we can't do it afterwards. But if you want to participate in live chat, let us know. And it's going to happen next week, Friday. And while I was preparing for that, because I've prepared our document for it already and all of that,
you're so on top of it.
Yeah. Well, it's easy. It's just copy and paste. So, but I did check our yearly predictions, because I thought that might be hilarious to see, like, what have we said so far? Have we predicted anything correctly so far this year? And we're closing in on 6 months this year. There's only one prediction that I could score, and it's wrong. And you can guess who predicted that.
It was me.
It was you, yes. It was about the Academy Awards. That we would score Apple would score at least 2 major Academy Awards. They got 1, and I'm not even sure how major you would count that, but it's 1. So
it was a one-time fluke.
Yeah. So yeah, there's still a lot. I'm pretty confident that with WWDC we will be able to make some decisions on some items, because there's a lot about AR, VR headsets at WWDC and so on. Or an Apple Silicon native version of Steam that should be announced. We'll see about that. So it's going to be hilarious. I can tell you that. Yeah, so next week, tune in and we'll do the keynote poker as always. There will be no cool things and probably also no news, or very little.
There will be
the keynote poker.
Unless it's a big piece of news, there's not going to be any news.
Yeah.
So I managed to come up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it's tradition, like the keynote poker and the week after, we usually don't do cool things because there's just too much to talk about.
Yeah. And I always look forward to our keynote poker days.
Me too.
And I think I have a pretty solid track record. I'm not saying it's a good
think we
track
all
record,
do.
but it's a solid track record.
No, whatever we say, not going to happen. That's usually the track record.
Yeah, and I've even tried using like reverse psychology on myself. And when I think this is what's going to happen, then I say the opposite, and it turns out that I still got it wrong.
Yeah, it just shows you, like, even with all the news that we read, the rumors that we read, like everything that we read and know about Apple and have, we've been doing this for a long time. We know nothing.
Yep. But we speak very confidently about it.
Oh, yes.
Does that mean we're ChatGPT?
Quite fun. Yeah, kind of.
Oh my God, we're like an analog ChatGPT.
Yeah, we hallucinate a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I do live in Boulder.
Yeah. And for the record, I will not get clingy on anyone and tell them to leave their spouse.
Okay.
I should probably give us a news story.
Yes,
Yeah,
ChatGPT actually did that.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Oh my God.
Bless its little digital heart. All right. So, Dave, thank you for for sharing your show notes for In Touch with iOS. By the way, In Touch with iOS did not record last night because Dave switched the time, so it will be today, about an hour-ish after we wrap up.
At 1:30 Central Time.
It's about 2.5 hours from now.
But okay, so 1:30 Central Time. Dave is doing In Touch with iOS live today with Patrice and Ben and me.
The special guest, Patrice. It's been too long.
Did I just give a spoiler?
I feel so special. No.
Yes. No, you're not.
Yeah. So in other words, let's get a move on it because I want to have lunch in between.
Yes.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Yep.
We all do.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. All of you have been absolutely awesome.
Well, there's
I'm
nothing to
gonna
talk
go
about
eat
anyway.
lunch. I'm outta here.
TSL host is awesome. Bye.
Yep. Yep. There you go. Okay. Anyhow, I dropped a story in here, and this did come from Dave's show notes. Apple has published its first ever App Store transparency report, and it has lots of numbers in it. Like there were 1,783,232 apps on the App Store in 2022. There were 6 million. It's just easier to say 6.1 million app submissions, 1.67 million apps rejected for a bunch of different reasons, and highest number of single rule rejections due to violations of design. Does that sentence make any sense to anyone?
Yes, the Design 4.0 rule.
The highest number of single rule rejections, which is 149,378, due to violations of the design rule and the DPLA 3.2 fraud rule, 32,009. So they're saying the fraud rule is 32,000 apps and everything else is 140. What the hell?
No, it's like, I mean, a quarter of all submissions basically were rejected, which is quite a lot if you think about it. Like a quarter of, and it's like app versions, like it might be a new update to an app or something. A quarter of them gets rejected. Quite a lot. And the highest number of rejections was about 150,000 for violations of the design rule, whatever design 4.0 rule is. This is like in the design document, probably something that is not designed correctly, and got rejected for that. And the whatever DPLA is, I would have to look that up. I mean, I've read all the rules, but like if I could remember.
I don't know what DPLA is.
But that's a rule for fraud. So there's the two, like there seems to be a lot of different rejections, because out of 1.6 million, there's only like the highest number of rejections is 150,000 for a single rule. And the second highest is 32,000. So there's a lot of rejections for a lot of other rules, probably like a couple here, a couple there. There's a lot of rules. So
there's a lot of rules. Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like DPLA relates to capturing email addresses.
Oh, okay.
Just a quick Google search.
So it's quite, for me as a developer, quite interesting to see a quarter getting rejected. On the one hand, I don't feel as bad if like one of my submissions gets rejected. On the other hand, that's a lot, and it's really frustrating when it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a little math on this. Jeff, if and I'm looking too at the transparency report. So if you do 6.1 million total app submissions, and let's just pretend that Apple has 1,000 people vetting apps, okay? That comes down to 6,100 apps per year that you have to vet. if you have 1,000 people. That means you have to have 1,000 people adequately trained, properly trained, and ready to do this. Now, maybe they have 1,000 people. I don't know. But trying to train 1,000 people to an adequate level of anything is a challenge. And so, if I start doing this kind of math, I can become a bit more forgiving of what sometimes, the sometimes what we think are stupid reasons that an app was rejected. And I'm taking nothing away from Apple's responsibility to its developers to do this, but when you start thinking about the sheer volume of stuff that comes into it, I agree with Patrice what you said. It can be very frustrating for developers. Look at it from the other side, and look at it just from the sheer volume situation. I mean, if you tried to cook that many hot dogs, how many hot dogs in a year do you think would not be cooked properly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, I checked. The DPLA is developer. No, I've lost it. What it was? Developer program. Apple Developer Program License Agreement. And 3.2 is about using Apple services and especially fraud and anything illegal. So it's not about emails. It's really about it's very broad. It covers a lot of different things. But it's mostly about illegal using Apple's things for illegal services.
I can appreciate them being uptight about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, which also makes sense that is probably one of the bigger categories, because people all the time, not normal developers, but the bad guys out there, they're probably constantly trying new ways to scam people out of everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The section, by the way, is only use of the Apple software and Apple services. That's the headline. But then there is something like, you will not use Apple software and any Apple services for any unlawful or illegal activity, nor develop any covered product, and so on, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So a lot of that is liability, crime, and so on. License, violating copyright, violating license agreements, all of this. It's all covered in this one section.
But it's interesting to see too also that out of all the app submission rejections by the review guidelines, performance was the biggest number by far, over 1 million. Interesting to see how they break down the actual rejections. Of course, no surprise about apps taken down by government, but China leads that. And looks like games was always the common theme of apps that were rejected too. So, or removed for that matter.
Probably also because games are the biggest category by sheer number. I'm pretty sure the biggest percentage of apps in total is games. And it's also probably an area where a lot of scams and stuff happens. By the way, the design document, that's the review guidelines, section 4, covers everything. Copycats, minimum functionality of your app, spam, extensions that you've written that don't follow. This basically it's kind of a catch-all for a lot of streaming games apps, for example, is also in this section. So a lot of different things.
And even approvals after rejection, 250,000 plus. That's a pretty big number too. So the appeals do work in some cases.
Yeah, and I'll put the documents in our chat so you can also read them if you want to.
Yeah, I put that link too.
Yeah, and 428,487 accounts developer accounts were terminated, with most of those being fraud.
Yeah.
And there are some cases where
one of
Apple...
them was Epic's account, right?
Yes. Was that 2022? Wasn't that 2021 even?
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm sorry, Patrice. I was talking over you.
Oh, no worry. I just wanted to say, something that for me is missing a little bit in this is how many mistakes did I make? Because I know some accounts were terminated for not legitimate reasons. And the people appealed and they got reinstated. So
159.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, but reinstated only 159.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean that's
5%.
That's not a bad. I guess that just doesn't disturb me because of, again, the sheer volume of what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not excusing anybody. I mean, I'd want to know more about those 159 cases from a quality control standpoint to try to make that number better. But at the same time, with all those app submissions, it goes to show you just how important and incredibly valuable the App Store is to Apple.
And how expensive it is.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
That is something that in all those lawsuits and political discussions about 30%, 15%, like all those discussions, something that gets ignored to some, and also the cost of the iPhone, which probably factors in, it's ignored. The number of, they had weekly visitors to the App Store were about 656.7 million unique visitors every week. 747.8 million weekly downloads for apps. And that's a lot if you think about that. If every app has whatever, let's say 10 megabytes, then it's fine. That's a lot of data that they're shuffling around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that they're having to store to the bandwidth to deliver. You're right, Patrice, and this is something that never gets discussed from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
No, and I think there's a statistic somewhere that I think, 83% of all apps in the App Store are free. So the others have to pay for it.
So the developers aren't making any money, but neither is Apple on those.
Not so sure. Not on the 83%. Yeah, that's true. Apple is still making a lot of money, and developers are still making money.
But
some of them are.
Yeah, but I mean,
not on those
free
apps.
The only thing, if somebody will save somebody an email, the only thing you can argue is that they have to pay for a developer account. But beyond that,
yeah, which is $99 a year,
right? Which probably doesn't cover bandwidth of an eighth or a tenth of the downloads, if the app is worth anything.
Thinking just about software updates, if you install all the beta versions that they put out, I'm not even sure it covers, or a big chunk of that is probably just the downloads for the beta versions, because they're sometimes 5, 6, 10, 12 gigabytes big. And if there's one every 2 weeks, and then you have whatever, let's say 2, 3 devices, it's a lot of bandwidth just for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, bandwidth cost these days is not high, but it adds up. If you download the set 12 gigabytes every 2 weeks for 3 devices.
Yeah, that adds up. And let's say you have 100 people in your beta pool downloading to 2 devices. That's a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, I once did the math that on WWDC day, when Apple releases the betas for everything basically, just for one platform, if there's about 1 million developers that download that on day one, that's 12 million gigabytes of data, which is about 12,000 terabytes. Or about 11 and a half petabytes of data just within not even 24 hours, probably.
Holy fucking shit.
And it's just a day. And it's not even counting the other devices like the iPhone, the iPad, and the Apple Watch, and the Apple TV, and HomePod, and all of the others. Just the Mac.
Patrice, you took the words right out of my mouth. How many different platforms are we talking about here that, where there is a dedicated version of an operating system? Now, obviously, the Apple Watch system is not as large as the Mac, but at the end of the day, it's still a separate thing and has to be downloaded. So,
I would really it's something that nobody talks about, and I know some people at Apple. Maybe I should ask. I'm not sure I will get an answer. I would like to really know how much data they go through on a day like that. It must be insane.
I'm assuming it's absolutely bonkers insane.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want to take us down a rat hole, so we'll just leave this here. But pre-show, we were talking about the Twitter meltdown with Ron DeSantis announcement, and Patrice, I think you said you and Jeff had read somewhere there were 500,000, for a live stream, which is a lot of people for a live stream. Think of how that compares to what we're seeing in this report from Apple as to how much stuff they are pushing out. I mean, it's staggering.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
To be fair, Google probably does the same thing. Like, it's not just Apple. I mean, how many Android devices? I'm not sure how the Google system works, but at least for all the Google Pixels and so on, they will push it out similarly, and that probably also a lot that they do.
No one knows how the Google system works, Patrice.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure it does.
Yeah, that's another point. Yeah. But as I said, I don't know how popular betas are on Google, and if you even get them if you don't have a Google Pixel and all of that. I don't know that, but I'm assuming that the amount of data Google pushes out. I mean, you think of YouTube like this. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. The amount of data coming out of YouTube every minute is insane.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, there's all the videos that are being uploaded, and the number of videos uploaded every minute around the world to YouTube is just an astronomical number.
Yeah, but it's always fun to think about that. Like I said, in 2019, I was sitting at the laptop and I was downloading the beta, and I was thinking about that. I'm like,
because everyone else in the room was downloading it too.
Exactly. Like, how much data is Apple pumping through everything in the world right now?
Yeah, it's like this will be finished installing in 17.4 years.
No, that was the crazy thing. I mean, Apple was quite. I mean, I remember I think 2018, even they were still struggling a little bit with it. I think you couldn't download the beta on the conference network. I think actually that was in 2019 even still. They blocked it on the Wi-Fi because I think Wi-Fi would have just crashed if they had tried that.
Oh
You had to plug
the access
in.
points would have just melted.
Yeah, you had to plug in to do that. But even then, I mean, they had local cache servers. There was probably an entire room somewhere just with cache servers where everything was local.
Which is
but
smart.
even then, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Am I misremembering this? But wasn't there a Macworld keynote where Steve Jobs asked everyone to stop using their phones because they needed the Wi-Fi network to work for the demo?
Yes.
They wanted to show something on the Wi-Fi and couldn't because the Wi-Fi was broken. Well,
it was overloaded.
Yeah, because everybody was using it.
Yeah, now you notice that's never happened since. Probably like everybody, even Apple has to learn sometimes by just having something, break a little bit. And we're back to the popularity issue of just how popular Apple is in so many ways. And of course, that was a dedicated event, so you kind of got it. But then we talk about, why Apple, they made one mistake, if I remember correctly, about releasing an update as well as a significant software update as well as an iPhone on the same day. And, then there were issues. You notice they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Yeah. That's why they do it 2 3 days before. So everybody can download it, install it on their own time. They usually, there's something a lot of people also don't know. Apple rolls them out slowly. So if you don't force it, if you go into your settings and do download and or whatever, it's going to show up on your phone. If you just let it sit, it will prompt you anywhere from now to, I think, a week later. Because that way it doesn't melt down their servers.
Yeah, which is smart.
In this room, we melt down those servers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have ever been at a big conference, there's access points everywhere, but the developer conference especially, because that's the most the most tech savvy and data hungry group of people. Maybe second to NAB probably, where there's a lot of video files and stuff flying around. But There's a reason for it.
Yeah, I think that's also might be one of the reasons that as the pandemic has passed into memory, we're still doing it kind of a hybrid model. By inviting a limited amount of people to the campus, they're able to manage the data constraints far better than having everybody in the world in the San Jose Convention Center.
I think the real reason is there was never the entire world in that center. I mean, there was like, let's say 5,000 attendees plus another 1,000 to 2,000 Apple employees. So it wasn't a big number of people. But I mean, it's still a big group, but it's like by any stretch from like compared to what Apple, like the community that Apple has, it's not big.
But that brings up a really interesting point. We will have a streamed keynote on the 5th, I think it is. How many people are going to be watching that keynote? And, compared to the Twitter thing we just talked about, how many people are going to watch that and, expect it to work and need it to work and want it to work?
And it will work.
And it will.
20 million, easy.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, I don't even know how many developers are out there. I would have to check. But it's, I think, like a low number in millions, like maybe 10 million. But I mean, it's like the press is watching it. A lot of enthusiasts are watching it worldwide. Like, I mean, this is being streamed. There's events in a lot of places. Like I know in London, for example, where they're watching together and all of that. I mean, that's like 10, 20 million is probably lowballing it. And it works. I mean, and it works flawlessly these days. I mean, there were early on a lot of struggles when they started doing it, but these days, I mean, these days it's a video. Like that's the secret. It's not really a live stream. They just start playing a video everywhere.
I don't care
because it's pre-recorded, and which is perfect.
Yeah, no, it is perfect. It's right in time.
Yeah. You still have to deliver the data. It still has to work. Like you can't. Like it's still simultaneous. As far as I know, still it's not a video playing at different times. It's still simultaneously.
Yeah, the last streamed Apple event back on September 7th had 30 million YouTube views alone.
YouTube alone. Wow.
Yeah.
So and then like the people on Apple's side, like I mean on Apple TV and the Mac, whatever, like watching it directly, probably another 10, 20 million. Or 30 or more. Yeah. So yeah, you're closing in on 100.
Tim Cook for president.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm for it.
So here's the
I have no vote, but I'm for it.
Here's the funny thing. Can you imagine the amount, because of those YouTube views? Can you imagine the amount of money that Google makes every time Apple has an event?
Do they actually do advertisement on it? I don't think so. I think that's disabled. I mean, they might have a banner ad somewhere or something. I don't know, but I don't think so. But I mean, on the other hand, maybe Apple pays for that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, Ben. I'm going to have to. Usually I watch it on the Apple site, so I'm going to have to check out the YouTube feed just to see if there is any kind of ad placement around it.
There's definitely no beginning, end, or mid-roll. They definitely are, but that's something the creator can disable. Somebody in Apple simply disabled it. But is there a banner ad on it? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Like you could have some on the side or something. I'm pretty sure Apple would hate that and would pay for Google not to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Apple makes it worth Google's while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this topic, I was not expecting it to go. I'm channeling my inner Chuck, so I didn't expect this to go where it did, or to last as long as it did.
So true.
Yeah. And
Jeff, think about what show you're on.
Oh, I know.
That's true.
And yet I should have totally anticipated that something that I thought was going to be a quick discussion would turn into this very interesting discussion that hit a bunch of other topics, and all I had to do was sit back and enjoy the conversation. But we still have to get to our cool things, but before we do that, I have a quick maybe thing that I want to drop in here. Bungie, the company that made Marathon, the company that made the Mac, at least for a while, a legitimate gaming platform, they have announced that they are making a new Marathon. And
yes.
Oh, you can be excited right now, but I'm about to kick your knees out from under you. This isn't really Marathon. It's only Marathon in name. It's a completely different kind of game. It's still a first person shooter thing, but it's more like it's Destiny with a Halo skin is kind of what they're doing here, and it's not even going to be available for the Mac.
Bungie, I will sick Durandal on you.
Right. So anyhow, I wanted to share this because it's actually very disappointing, because it's not Marathon at all. And Bungie is not paying attention to the Mac where they started. Granted, the Apple gaming space for the Mac is not a big market, but it still would have been nice to see something. It also would have been nice to see an actual Marathon game and not something that they're just calling Marathon, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, but you know what is not disappointing? TSO host.
Mhm.
And unlike other platforms that live stream, the British Tech Network is always rock solid when we live stream. And that's because of TSO host. They're giving us that bandwidth we need so that we can live stream to you all the time. We live stream the big show on Thursdays, the Mac show on Fridays. Sometimes we do other events and live stream those as well. The point is, when you tune in to one of our live streams, it's just solid and it works. And that's because of TSO host. That's part of what they do. They also do web hosting and help people buy domain names. And that's why we have a rock solid server that ensures that our website is always there when you type BritishTechNetwork.com. And it means that every time you go to download, to listen to your favorite or watch your favorite episodes, that it actually works. And those episodes get to you without any problems. That's because TSO host is doing what they do so well. And they're giving that to us because they just love us and they enjoy being part of our community. And we're so happy that they're doing that, because without them, we wouldn't be here. So thank you to TSO hosts. Now, what you can do to show your appreciation is just go on social media and thank TSO hosts for being here. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Lets them know that we all appreciate them, and it's good karma just all the way around. If you are ready to set up a new website and you need to buy a domain name, whatever, go use TSO host, because they're really good at making this whole process easy for you. Just get your domain name, get your hosting package, excuse me, pop all that into your cart, and then add the discount code BTN20. And when you do that, you get 20% off your order. So not only are they being super generous by providing the British Tech Network with the services we need so we can be here for you, they're giving you a discount for being a BTN fan. So thank you, TSO hosts, for being here. And Patrice, would you please tell people where they can find the live chat?
Oh yeah, of course. And I just put a really interesting thing as a PSA in the live chat. So if you want to get to that and to all the other cool things that we're posting in there, like the links to the articles we're talking about, the links to cool things we'll talk about in a second, Anything that like talk to the awesome people, like the Third, for example, that's in the chat, and of course us. Yeah, that's really cool, and you can do that when we record live, which is every Friday, 4 p.m. UK time for the Mac Show, and also Thursdays, 7 p.m. UK time for the Big Show, if you're into the non-Apple side of things, like what Ben wanted to talk about earlier, which like Microsoft Build, for example, which we talk about anything that is not Apple tech, like space and games and Microsoft and Android and like all kinds of things. Yeah, and then you just head over to chat.britishtechnetwork.com when we're recording live, and you're in and you can talk to us. This is how easy it is, like really easy. But let's say you are listening to this like in the recorded form, like in your favorite podcast player, or on our website, or wherever you might find this content. I don't know, beamed through a subspace temporal conduit into the future. Who knows? You can still at least see what was in the chat. I'm not sure how that works if you're in another universe or another, like, whatever, solar system. Might not work that way, but if you're on Earth, planet Earth, and it still exists, you can head over to britishtechnetwork.com/chat. And then, like, there's a pop-up, or there's like a calendar that shows up, and you have to select the date, and you select today's date as we're recording this. And the recording date is the 26th of May, 2023. 26th of May, 2023. And if you do that, you will see everything that was talked about.
Awesome. Patrice, I did figure out how people that are watching, say, in different timelines or different realities are actually able to do that. You need to add the transdimensional conduit to your stream.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's how easy it is. Okay, fine. Okay.
I mean,
should do
easy
that too.
peasy.
Yeah. It's like not a big deal. Do that every day.
Right.
Fascinating.
Yep. Yes. So thank you, Patrice. And now it's cool thing time. And Ben, you sentences, hard words. Ben,
you want to say he cheated?
Yes. There we go. All right, Ben, it's your turn.
So you could say I'm feeling a little bit loopy today.
Today.
Yep. So, a couple months back in the fall, a new device came out called the Apple Watch Ultra. A new type of band was released with it called the Alpine Loop. It looks just like that. Only this isn't the Apple one. This is the Chinese knockoff. I got it for $10 on God, I can't even think of it's a name. Yeah, I am loopy. I got it for $10 off of Amazon. And this seems like a very well made, very nice band.
Nice.
I wouldn't pay Apple prices for it, and I haven't on any band. But I have to say, I really like it.
Awesome. And they do these, I checked, in sizes for both sizes of Apple Watch, the big and the small.
Yes. And it is fully basically adjustable from one side to the other. So if you have a small wrist or your shack, you're good.
Awesome. And $10. Multiple color choices.
Nice.
Yep. Pretty much all the color choices.
Good to know, Ben. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Patrice, it is now your turn.
Mm-hmm. And since that seems very apropos for this week, the Apple Developer app. It's an app Apple has put out, I want to say it's 3 years ago, maybe. Basically, I think somewhere around the time when they started doing videos and posting them, maybe it's even longer than 3 years. Now that I think of it, basically it's the one-stop shop when you want to find any content related to developers. The State of the Union videos, for example, are in there. You can go back till I don't know how many years back, but quite a while back, and watch sessions from 2015, 2016. Probably if you want to learn about a certain topic. This references even in today's video or next week's video. Well, next week, 2 weeks ago, in 2 weeks, whatever. The new videos this year, when they will be posted, there will probably be some references where they say, hey, just watch this video from a couple of years ago that explains some basic thing that we're building on top of. So it's really good to if you want to learn a little bit more, and there's all kinds of different categories. So it doesn't have to be you don't have to be a developer really to appreciate them. There's design sessions where it's about how to design an app or how to sell an app for business side and so on. There's all kinds of things that Apple puts out, and this app is actually quite good. As far as I know, it's Swift UI based. I might be wrong. Could also just be Catalyst. But it's definitely a cross-platform app, so you can find it on macOS and iOS. And it is quite a good app. There were some bugs last year that drove me nuts because they had broken the video player. Right as WWDC started, they had broken the video player. So that wasn't good, but they fixed it. They pushed out quite quickly a fix for it. And that was good. But it's, as far as I know, you don't need to be a developer to use it. I don't know,
you don't.
What the limitations are. You don't. Okay, that's good to know. I have a developer account, so for me. But as far as I knew, this is all free content, and you can use it. So highly recommend that app. It's a good app. It's quite nice layout. Works quite well. It has for every video there's usually the slides. There is a transcript version. There's sample code if they have it. It's all kind of together. So it's actually, for me personally, much better than the website.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
It is a very nice app. Yep.
So
cool.
Now you can prepare for in 2 weeks or 10 days.
Awesome. And since you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to pay any money to use this.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Dave, looks like it's your turn.
Yes, found this great app. It's called MoneyWiz 2023. It's a finance app that lets you maintain all your finances, your budgets, and runs reports similar to what Quicken does, but not expiring like Quicken does all the time, and never has a good version for it on the Mac. So you can connect over 40,000 banks, 50 countries worldwide, and it's got the 4 different data providers that it does to generate it. I just started playing with it the other day, and it's finding some obscure banks. I have a credit union I wasn't thinking it was going to come into there, and it found that and downloaded all the information. You can run reports. It's really robust. I'm very impressed with these guys, and it's on the it's on a Mac as well as on iOS. And the best part is it's on SetApp.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
If you don't have SetApp, it's $49 a year. But I think they're right there makes the SetApp well worth the investment.
Hell yes. Yeah, I used to use them for many years, and I think I stopped because I was not as crazy about tracking every single expense anymore, so I didn't use it. But it is really good.
And I also had the concern about privacy, so I did look up their privacy policies and everything here. I'll put this in the chat too, so when people hear this, they'll take a look at this too. But they don't share any information. They don't store any of your user accounts, because they do use your online banking user accounts to connect. But you get, it goes through a multi-factor authentication, so it makes sure that it's you. And they have, like I said, 4 different partners that they use. Plaid is the one, I guess, the most popular one that works with each one of these banks. Only thing I didn't see is it doesn't have Apple Card, as I think Apple probably doesn't have
an API for it.
Doesn't have an API for it, and that's a bummer thing. Since I got money in savings now, the Apple Savings account, can't put that as part of your investments. So, but you can always put it in manually because it does have manual options too. So, I was thoroughly impressed with this app. I recommend it. And like I said, it's inside app.
As far as I know, you can export from Apple Card in like I think like a CSV or something, and
you can export.
It.
Yes,
and can import it into MoneyViz, so that works.
And
as far as I know, you don't have to use the cloud sync if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So if you're concerned about privacy and you don't want to do that, and you just want to do a manual expense tracking on your local machine, you can do that. As far as I know.
Yeah. So, well, with the check, I mean, someone like Mint, Mint was out there with Intuit. I don't trust Intuit with that stuff.
No.
That is the worst of the place to put things. But these guys seem like they know what they're doing, and I think by joining in setup, I think they're going to get a lot more customers.
Yeah, I think I met the guys from Silverwiz once at WWDC, and they were really, really nice. So
cool. All right. So, Chuck, I guess it's up to you.
It's up to me. It's up to me. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different pick. Excuse me. I am going to pick a tweet. Okay.
Really?
A tweet. Okay. A tweet from, and since this is on the British Tech Network, this is a BBC cyber journalist. I love this story. I love this story so much. This is an incident that occurred apparently in the UK, where a company was received an extortion notice, and one of the IT professionals in the company went into the mail server, changed the extortionist Bitcoin address in the email to his own, and then also went in, created a lookalike address, and was trying to encourage the company's management to pay off the ransomware to the wrong Bitcoin address. I can't decide whether this guy is brilliant or stupid, because he was doing all this from his home account or his home, so that's how he got caught. But this is just an absolute riot. So the journalist's name is Joe Tidy, Tidy. And so, I just think this is a great story. It's just a fun one to read. It's like 4 paragraphs, big deal, but you have to appreciate it. I do want to, though, give credit where credit's due. This story came to my attention listening to the Risky Biz podcast, RISKY.BIZ podcast out of Australia. There's a cybersecurity podcast.
Yep,
and you can tell they were just delighted as much with this as I was. They were just cracking up. So this is just your story for the day to make you smile a little bit and think, you just cannot believe what people will do.
My God, that is just chef's kiss.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew you'd like it, Jeff.
God, that's awesome. All right. So don't steal, kids. Don't commit fraud, kids.
So what's your cool thing, Jeff?
My cool thing is
not getting caught.
My cool thing is not getting caught. My cool thing is Prehistoric Planet 2.
Oh, yes.
On Apple TV Plus. They've been dropping a new episode every night. They're calling it a special week-long event. So this is Friday, so I think that there's the last episode is today, and it's funny that they say new episodes every night, but it drops after midnight on the day. So when you get up in the morning, there's an episode waiting for you. And the season 1 was amazing, and season 2 maintains that bar. It's done so well that you're watching this and you forget that it's not an actual David Attenborough real world animal nature documentary, because the quality is just so good. And there was one single scene in season 1 where I felt like I was watching CGI, and it was just for a few seconds, and because of the quality of the production, it just really stood out to me. This one scene that in any other movie or series, I wouldn't have even noticed. I mean, that's how good it is. Season 2, I have not had any moments where I look at it and say, yeah, that's clearly CGI. It looks that real. It's absolutely wonderful. So if you have not watched Prehistoric Planet season 1 or season 2, well, hop to it. And season 2 is just absolutely wonderful. Apple TV Plus. Okay.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it. And with that,
so much good content.
I know, it's wonderful. I need to get caught up on Ted Lasso.
Oh, you definitely do.
I am several weeks behind.
Series finale is next week.
Okay, so I need to get caught up before the series finale because I'm already having to avoid spoilers for this week's episode.
Oh,
which is ridiculous. What is wrong with people? Don't post screenshots and quotes and stuff from what the hell?
Discussable.
Well,
it was discussable episode.
Yeah, I like Brett Goldstein's like Twitter posts about it. He does marketing for it for sure, but he always posts like 3 pictures, and then his very like loose interpretation of what happens in the pictures like usually has nothing to do with what actually happens, but it he just looks at it and it's funny. So that's the kind of, it's not a spoiler, it's just funny.
Okay, that's awesome. Also awesome is getting to spend my Friday morning with all of you. Thank you so much. You all absolutely rock. So thank you for putting a smile on my face.
Dave, Jeff, for saying that.
Oh, sure. Thank you very much. Dave, where can people find you?
You can find me at Intouchable iOS at intouchwise.com. Like we mentioned earlier, we'll be recording the show with Jeff, Ben, and Patrice a little later by the time you see this. And you also can find me on the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/intouchableios. I'm on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud, Twitter, DaveG65. I'm on the I'm on MacVoices Live on Tuesday nights every week on that show. And thanks for having me. Thanks for you doing a good show.
Awesome. And Chuck, where can people find you?
MacVoices.com is where you'll find me all the time, talking to really interesting people. There's so many great people out there to talk to. There's so many people I want to talk to. I keep running out of time to get it all out. We do Mac Voices Live Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are, on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. Join us in the chat room to throw in your comments, thoughts, criticisms, abuse. A lot of people do, and we take it all. We love it. And on the socials, you can find me as at Chuck Joyner or at Mac Voices. Thank you, Jeff. Good job.
We made it through. I'm amazed. Patrice, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me every week here on British Tech Network on the Mac Show on Fridays, Friday 4 p.m. UK time, and also on the Big Show on Thursdays and 7 p.m. UK time if you're into the non-Apple side of things, of technology. You can find everything I'm doing, like all the social media links, the podcast, the projects, literally everything I'm doing on my website, thepatrice.com. And if you want to join Mastodon, or you're on Mastodon and you want to or have to switch, because there was some server that was being shut down, and you're a friend of the show's, then reach out to me, because I have my own Mastodon instance. It's small, and it's supposed to be small. It's just for us, basically. And techhangout.social. You can also sign up there, and I will just approve it. But ping me first, because I want to know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Exactly.
Yes, it is. All right, Ben, when you're not out there protecting G.I. Joe and all of his team members, where can we find you?
Well, Jeff, you can find me at Ben Roethig on your social media of choice, since it has been asked. That is at techhangout.social on the Mastodon. You can also find me at roethig.tech, where you can find all my opinion pieces. You can find me Tuesday on Chuck's show, Thursday on Dave's show, except it's today, this week, and Thursday and Friday right here.
Awesome. All right. So I'm on social medias, Jay Gamet on basically everything. Mastodon and Instagram. That's where I'm actually posting stuff right now. And then for shows, Chuck keeps letting me on MacVoices Live on Tuesdays, where I get to hang out with a bunch of cool people. And then Dave keeps letting me on In Touch with iOS on Thursdays. But like we've said, today on Friday instead, so we can have a very special guest star episode. And then Thursdays on The Big Show, here on Fridays on The Mac Show, and then also on The Context Machine. Brian Chaffin and I record that, and it's kind of turned into a Friday thing as well. So thank you to all of you for being here. You're absolutely awesome, and this has been a wonderfully fun way to kick off my Friday and what should be a long weekend. And then everyone that's watching, listening live, participating in the live chat, thank you for being here. It's so great to have you here with us. And everyone that watches or listens to the recordings later, thank you for being part of the BTN family as well. Ewen, thank you just for being you. Patrice, thank you for taking care of getting everything ready for next week's keynote poker. Muller, thank you for making sure we have people for shows, and hope you're feeling better soon. And Tioso hosts, thank you for being here and supporting us. Give them some online love. All right. So with all of that said, don't forget to join us next Thursday for the big show. Come back again on Friday for our keynote poker for Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference on the Mac Show. And everyone, have an awesome weekend.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.